right. Thank you everybody for hopping on and watching this parent meeting. Hopefully this new for 2025 format works well for everybody. It was so good to see so many of you at Garner Park earlier this week and looking forward to meeting a lot of you at the Sox Social on Thursday. Reminder, this is just some of the most basic information about BAC. We will have some follow-up videos we'd like you to watch as well. One that's more targeted at new families that'll have a website tour and some introductory coach emails or videos, and then also some different videos throughout the season. Um, oh, that's what I just said all that stuff. So, yep. All right. So here's kind of the basics, what we're going to run through, the back basics and club structure, the board and coach introductions, tier and simply swimming, a little bit of a brief talk about the website, some map and safe sports stuff, some information about billing, communication, Back's philosophy on youth sports. And then again, just to reemphasize probably several times throughout the video, we will have an additional video for more new families in a little bit. So Back's club structure, the basics. We were formed in 1999, but our roots date back even further. So there were three clubs in the area that, looking at the landscape of USA Swimming at the time, felt they'd have a better chance of doing a better job as a combined club. So that was how they combined. So we combined in 1999. I was on the original staff. I swam for one of the predecessor clubs, a club called Badger Dolphins or BD, and then joined the staff when I was a college freshman in the fall of '99. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We're athlete-centered, board-driven, and coach-run. We're a member of USA Swimming and the Wisconsin LSC. So just for those of you that aren't familiar with what that means, USA Swimming obviously is our parent organization. Swimmers have to get registered with USA Swimming. That is a big part of our insurance. It also gives us access to meets. USA Swimming is broken down into LSCs, which stands for Local Swim Committee. We are a part of the Wisconsin LSC, which is most of Wisconsin, minus the couple counties closest to the Twin Cities, and also both of the active current teams in the Upper Peninsula have decided to become part of Wisconsin as opposed to Michigan. We have a parent board, more on them later. We have several full-time staff members. So if we haven't met yet, my name is Jacob Johnson. I'm the head coach and CEO. Sherry Neeson is our business specialist. She's our business manager. And then we have Jay, Chris, and Derek as other full-time coaches. We have a bunch of part-time staff. We'll show those on a slide later. I want to point out Jill Deal, who's the head coach for our Baraboo site. We have lead coaches for every group. Those are the people that you'll be getting your weekly emails from. And then we do have other coaches from time to time in leadership roles. Rachel Brager's done a lot. Rachel Nicole with helping us host the golf event every fall. We mentioned at the social on Tuesday that Daria Pronina is going to take up some social media stuff and some business relations stuff. So we have other coaches that do additional things beyond just being on deck. Board of directors. So Brian Johnson is our current board president. He has a ex-back swimmer who is now a sophomore at Northern Kentucky, and then he has a senior Kennedy, Ethan, and then he has a senior Kennedy at Monona Grove, who's been a longtime backer. Adam Danziger has three kids on the team. Addie is 12, Emma's 10 or maybe 11 now, and Gordon's maybe 6 or 7. All kind of swim on the west side. Ben Radloff had kids on the team way back when. He now has a coach on the team, and he has, for the first time, a granddaughter on the team. His granddaughter, Cora, is going to be in our East Side group. Rick Zeal has another one with Swammers, though they're both previous board presidents that have graciously stuck around well past their kids being on our team to help out. Amanda has three kids on the team. She's our secretary. Jason Schmidt had kids on the team, and then they moved away, but he's been wonderful enough to stay on as our treasurer. Eric Holmer has three kids on the team. Kristen Kuhn-Schinke has three kids on the team. And Rita Tegert is in Sauk and has one swimmer on the team. This is our coaching staff. We're not going to go through and read them. I just kind of put it on here for point of emphasis. I think right now we have around 38 coaches, and I actually just got an email this morning from another coach that's interested in helping out, and we might have some of our older high school swimmers help out with some of our younger groups, especially on the west side, especially this winter. So just to point out that we have a very large staff. The analogy I always like to describe it as is pretty typical. The elementary schools around here, where your kid goes to an elementary school and they will get to know their teacher extraordinarily well. They will get to know their music, art, special teachers fairly well. They'll get to know, if there's an SEA or somebody that's in the room a lot or a teacher's aide, they'll get to know that person there very well. They'll get to know the principals relatively well. There are people in their elementary school, though, that they will never really, their staff members that they won't really ever meet, might not ever interact with, will certainly not get to know nearly as well. So when you look at this and go, oh, that's a lot of coaches, your kid's going to have an interaction with just a small slice of these coaches and get to know them really, really well. And then probably just some limited interaction with many of them. I want to go back to that a second, or just like I mentioned here. Our staff is great. It's a great mix of, there are many of us that have been doing this for 20 years or longer. There are some coaches that are newer and younger and kind of have new ideas and younger energy. A lot of former swimmers, including some former UW swimmers that have stuck around and stayed in Madison. A lot of former back swimmers. A lot of people with all city experience or tri-county experience, both as swimmers and as coaches. A variety of coaches that do other jobs, including a lot of people that are currently teachers. So we have a great, I'm really proud of our staff. I really like our staff. It's a great well of expertise to draw from. All right, year three of our partnership with Tier. So Tier is our apparel and suit partner. We were with a different company for a very long time, and we made some switches, and we've been really happy with Tier. We get great service from them, great response for outfitting for our older athletes, and really, I think one of the big differences is the gear is just phenomenal. We'll talk about clothing order later, but some of the clothing options for what's available for Simply Swimming. If you haven't done so, check out the Tier like sweatshirts, especially. They're just a notch above some of the regular kind of Gildan or whatever company might be out there making just kind of your classic hooded or crew neck sweatshirt. Some of the Tier stuff is just really nice and it's worth kind of paying a little bit more. Sorry, guys. Jesse, I'm trying to record this in my basement today, and Jesse came down and found me. Jesse, you have to go back upstairs, but you want to say hi to everybody?
Hi.
Okay, now go upstairs. Go find Lily. So yeah, that's my son Jesse. He's 6. If you are at any West Side practice, you'll see him on deck quite a bit or at meets. He's not on the team yet. My daughter Lily is 8, and she's going to be in our ribbon group. Simply Swimming. Shane and Jenny are the owners. If you haven't gotten a chance to interact with them, it's worth stopping by the store, especially those of you in the Madison area, or if you're in Baraboo or Sauk or further flung next time you're in town, like maybe for the spectacular meet. If you can stop by the store, it's well worth it. Mariah is often a main point of contact for us. Shane and Jenny are the owners. They have 3 kids on the team as well. They didn't always swim for us, but they're swimming for us this year, and we're really excited about it. They are fabulous to work with. Mariah is probably going to be your main point of contact for a lot of our team sales. She is amazing. I had to look up who the quote was. It's a Bum Phillips quote. It was a football coach. They may not be in a class by themselves, but it doesn't take long to call the roll. Uh, I know that our families, because our coaches don't have the same understanding. I know that our families don't have a proper appreciation for what Simply Swimming is and what they can do in the swimming space. When you go in there, the combination of their ability to do stuff online and what they can do in store for you, in store for us, is just so unique, right? We want to go through them for as much stuff as we can do. I was in there the other day and they were getting stuff ready for Waukesha Express. If you're not familiar, that's a big team out of obviously Waukesha. And the fact that they're going 75 minutes to get all their servicing done through Simply Swimming says a lot. But then when you go in there, you'll see stuff from Swim Atlanta. You'll see stuff from Chicagoland teams. You'll see stuff from all over the place because simply there aren't. You think every Madison-sized town would have a Simply Swimming, and they just don't. They're just phenomenal to work with and a huge part of our success. Here is just some of the stuff. You guys have all been emailed information about the fall clothing order. Here's a few of the samples of what's available. Like I said, take your time to peruse that on the link to see all the different sizes and everything. And if you want to stop into the store to try stuff on, they're there quite a bit as well. The fall clothing deadline this year is the 21st, so that's a week from tomorrow, or I guess depends when you're watching this. But end of the first week at midnight, we do a relatively early order deadline so that we can get everything turned around, hopefully for the back spooktacular or the first meet, so the kids can be wearing their gear at the meet. The back website. We'll have a more comprehensive tour where we actually kind of go in and show you where to click things, especially for new people, but anybody's obviously free to watch that. We do a lot with the website, and I get it that sometimes there are complaints that Team Unify or Sports Engine is the company that owns it is definitely an imperfect thing, but it's the best that's currently available. They do a lot of stuff for us on the front end that you guys see and you guys interact with us with, but they do a lot on the back end as well in terms of billing and communications and all sorts of stuff that help us run the club efficiently. Um, you will yep, so yeah, let's see. So practice calendar, that's linked there. Billing information, you'll get invoices from Sherry. Communication, you have the ability to add an alternate email address for your account. You can log in and add that so that if there's another parent that wants to get the email, or if your swimmer is old enough, we would definitely encourage that, right? We'd love to. One of the videos we'll have here in the first couple weeks is how to give your swimmer increased ownership of the sport. And so having their email address listed so they're getting these communications as well is a big step. Entering meets, we'll have that as part of the video tour as well, and checking results and other things. MAP and Safe Sports. So MAP stands for Minor Athlete Abuse and Prevention Policy. This is something that's adopted by all USA's Olympic sport governing bodies, so USA Swimming being a part of that. It is a great framework. It's a great set of rules and conditions to help make sure that our athletes are having a positive experience, but a safe and protected positive experience. This is actually back just random coincidence. We had a board president a long time ago in the mid 2000s that was very involved in Olympic speed skating. He was an Olympic speed skater himself. And he was very involved in that. And so he actually had back and our coaches trained in a very, very, very early version of this. So, 10, 15 years before this was mandated, this was something that back was already training our coaches in and getting information on. And so we've kind of been at the forefront of this. A lot of the MAP requirements are kind of obvious common sense things that clubs should be doing already. But then there's some additional communications and stuff like that. One thing we mentioned, if your swimmer is older and they're communicating directly with a coach, that's great. But we ask them to include a parent as well. Our coaches should not be texting or sending any electronic communication to just an athlete. So if your athlete texts, "Hey, like what time or what do I need for practice or what should I sign up for a meet?" They're going to text Chris or another one of our older coaches. We ask that they include you as a parent so that our coach can easily respond. If you have any questions about any of this stuff, there's going to be more info. There is more information on the web currently. We'll have more information on this as we go through. There's some kind of required to distribute materials that we'll have week 1 or week 2. But if you have any questions on any of this stuff, you can reach out to a coach, reach out to Jacob, or reach out to a board member. That's what they're there for. Our points of contact are all on the website. Sherry stuff, billing, payments, etc. So Sherry's our business manager. She's a longtime back employee. Her son Sam was a very good swimmer for us. Swam for UW Milwaukee. Has some, I don't know if he still has some team records, but he did for quite a while. You maybe have seen her husband Gordy working concessions, slinging hot dogs and whatever else at our home meets. We usually send the invoices around the end of the second week or maybe even the third week. Don't worry if you haven't paid yet. We'll track you down. We'll get there. We typically do monthly invoices thereafter. Things like meet fees. You can either put money into an escrow account and draw it down, or we can get your balance negative and bill you and say, "Hey, you owe $45 at the end of the month." Anytime you have any issues or questions or anything like that with any payment stuff, Sherry's great to work with. Just email Sherry and we can have the conversation about making sure that your kid stays in the pool and everything gets taken care of for your billing. Communication. So we say that communication is absolutely essential for good club operation. We've rather had twice as many emails as we might otherwise and have something go unanswered. We mentioned this at the Garner Park social that I got an email and it wasn't just this one person because I get several of these every week where it's, "Oh, I'm so sorry to be emailing you this," or, "Oh, sorry to bug you." Don't do that in email. You don't have to do that. Like, it is quite literally my job to send emails and communicate and answer your questions. If we had the attitude of like, "Ugh, another email from a parent," like That would just be a ridiculous way to run any organization, but especially a youth sports organization. We talk about, the realization that youth sports is at the intersection of, it's your kids, right? The most important thing in your life. It's a devotion of a good amount of your time, and it's unfortunately a relatively costly thing, right? Youth sports maybe shouldn't cost what they do, but as a nonprofit, trust me, we're not rolling it. I think we're $810 in the black for 25 for 24-25 fiscal year. So we're charging what we can to provide a great product for you guys without gouging you. But regardless, we're at the intersection of those three incredibly important things in your life, and we need to be responsive to you and good communicators. We have different types of communication, team-wide emails. Anytime we send something like that out, we usually also post a handout, or in this case, like we'll post this link to this video under our emails and docs tab on the website. We'll send group-specific emails, usually a weekly one, but occasionally another one if there's a abrupt change or maybe as a meet deadline reminder. We will set meet reminder emails as well, usually one when we get the meet posted and usually one a couple days before the meet deadline. We try to have our meet deadlines as Thursdays because that seems to be a good day where we can remind people about it early in the week. And the weekly emails, we can send one more reminder maybe Wednesday night and then get it taken care of by Thursday. And then obviously communication, you can come chat with a coach before or after practice. Our coaches are typically going to be there 15 minutes before practice and 15 minutes after. It's a great time. We encourage them to interact with the kids, but it's also a great time to interact with the parents as well. Communication is a two-way street. Obviously, we send a lot of communication your way, but anytime you have questions, we want you to reach out to us as well. Some notes about the beginning of the season. Some things about to expect first couple weeks. I was talking to another coach in the area, and they were saying, yeah, week one went really well, but we always get these emails about week one being too easy. And I said, oh, we get those too, or we used to get a lot more of them. We kind of nip it in the bud. So I'll be sending an email about this as well. But those first couple weeks, there's going to be some degree of feeling out the groups. That first practice where we know maybe half the kids, but we don't know the dynamic. We don't know how they relate to each other. We don't know the best way to split them. We don't know who gets along well in lanes with who. We might not even know everybody's name the first couple days. Those tend to be, and this should be obvious, the most chaotic practices or the more chaotic practices of the season. Things will settle down. Things will get figured out. In terms of content, while we're working on those first couple weeks, it's a lot of what we call back to basics. A lot of just the fundamentals. We'll spend a lot of time with our 10 unders working on just how to push off the wall, which seems so elementary, but if we don't do it now, it's not going to get developed as a habit. We'll work on streamlines, work on just some very basic elementary things that we expect them to do well all season that we need to get established right now. There is plenty of time to ramp up, right? The first meet is at the end of the fifth week. The first, we like to talk about when are the kind of performance meets, the most key meets. Now would probably be like the Glow and McFarland weekend, right? Is the first time where we're maybe looking for kids to really pop some season best or lifetime best times. So there's plenty of time to ramp up to that. If your child has the retort of practice today was too easy, a thing I would encourage you to push back with is, oh, so it sounds like you did everything the coach asked perfectly. And of course they didn't, right? Of course, it's too easy. Kids make mistakes. Kids, aren't perfect with every stroke, with every drill, with every push off. They do a great streamline every time. They do 5 underwater dolphin kicks every time. I get it that it might be not the physically most demanding thing this first week, especially, but that's by design. If that feeling persists, certainly reach out and we can talk if the group placement isn't quite right or if there's something we need to adjust about the practices themselves. But just that first week feeling too easy is not at all a sign of anything wrong. In fact, I would argue that it would be a really stupid way to make that, that having a first practice be this grueling ordeal, especially for our younger kids, but even our 11 to 15-year-olds, that would be a dumb way to go about it. Our team philosophy. I'll have more on this, obviously, as the season progresses. But we want to create the best possible experience for our athletes. That is kind of our underlying philosophical underpinning, our number one goal. Best experience can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different kids, right? What might be the best experience, what one kid might be looking to get out of back and their participation and their time with back is going to be totally different than what another kid might want to get out of there. Sometimes the best experience can be tied to their performance, but it isn't always. Especially kids that are newer, or kids that are younger, or kids that are more interested in the social element. We want our kids to get better. We want our kids to progress. We want our kids to improve. but we also want to make sure that they're being taken care of with whatever else it is that they might need as participation in our sport. We very prioritize the long-term view and progressive development. There are things you can do to make your 9-year-old stronger 9-year-old and winning all these heat winners and winning all these races, and you can thump them, and their bodies can kind of take that at that age, and they're more teacher pleasy kind of attitudes, and you can get away with a lot of that stuff. And then more often than not, it just bites you in the butt when they're 12. Um, I've seen kids do a 200 breaststroke at age 9, from other teams, and by the time they're 14, they're like, "I hate this event. I quit." Um, we don't want that, right? We are very proud of the number of kids we have that stay active with our team throughout their entire school experience. We are very proud of the number of kids we have that stay active in the sport once they're beyond us. We send dozens and dozens of kids off to swim collegiately every year. Sometimes it's your powerhouse D1, Power Five conferences. Sometimes it's smaller or kind of, less competitive D1 programs. Sometimes it's D2, D3. Could be a D3 powerhouse. Could be a more casual D3 school. Could be swimmers opting to compete in club swimming. We did a panel this past spring with a number of swimmers that are currently swimming in college, including one named Natalie Pollock, who now has joined our coaching staff. Just talking about the experience they have in swimming. You can find that on our YouTube channel. It was a Zoom, but we recorded it and posted it. We're so happy that these kids get that experience and that they enjoyed their time with Back Enough, that they're staying in the sport as they move on beyond us. We also want to think about sports as a good third space. If you're not familiar with the term, generally refers to kids have home, kids have school, and that there's a growing evidence out there, growing suggestion that the kids need a functional third space in order to have a fulfilling life, right? Whether that's maybe a sport activity, an after school activity, a religious activity, these other spaces that these kids have in their lives where they can grow and develop and change and mature. So we really like to make sure that swimming is that for them. And swimming is a vehicle can be a great, sports in general can be a great vehicle for life lessons. We'll have more on that as we go, probably a different video on that later in the season, because a lot of what we do there is intentional as well. Life lessons don't automatically just happen because you're in a sport. We try to make sure that the way we're talking with the kids, what we're asking them to do, that it kind of promotes those life lessons. And then obviously just have fun, right? Like you can do both. I love it. When I'm talking to potential new families at All City or wherever it might be, and they say, is your club focused to have the kids get better at swimming or to have a good time? And it's like, why can't you do both? If you're any kind of quality coach or any kind of quality program, you can do both. There are so many ways. Kids, and I don't know if there's any kids watching or if it's just the parents watching, but kids are dumb. You can trick them real easily into having a really good time, and they don't even realize they were just working on something, right? Who can do the farthest streamline float from a dive? Oh my God, that's so fun. It's a competition. Except you just also worked on streamline core stability, jumping off the pool, and body position in the water, right? So we have so much fun while we're getting them better. Working together for success. So this was a long USA Swimming used quote. Swimmers swim, parents, parents, and coaches coach. I want to make sure that that isn't coming off as any sort of dismissive of anybody's role. It truly means that there is a tripod of foundational success for these swimmers, that for them to be successful in this sport, they need to do a good job with their part. You need to do a good job with your part, and we need to do a good job with our part. So everybody working together in the right role is the best equation for success. Obviously, the swimmers aren't putting in the work, and that just means focus as well as just effort. They're going to struggle to improve. It's our job to lead them, to counsel, motivate, teach, and energize them. And you guys, parents that are listening, are the ultimate support for not just the athletes, for the club as well. If you guys don't have the buy-in, if you guys aren't getting them to practice, if you guys aren't signing them up for meets, if you guys aren't willing to help volunteer at our hosted meets, it very much limits what we can do and the support we can give them. So thank you for all that you guys do in order to have your kids be a part of BACK. Sponsors, partnerships, fundraising events. We'll have some more information on this, but we did mention it briefly at the social on Tuesday, and I'm sure it'll come up again on Thursday in SOC. Coach Derek is our point person for a lot of this stuff. we're expanding kind of the offerings of what we're offering businesses this year, including if families bring in a business sponsorship, business partnership, we are going to kick back some of that value, that sponsorship to that family into their escrow account so you can offset meet fees and that sort of thing with that. When we do have local businesses, we appreciate that you guys are supporting them. We have different share nights and the Kendra Scott outing. It's, if you have my daughter hasn't fully discovered Kendra Scott yet. For that, I'm thankful. But it sounds like it's a real big popular thing for that, 7 to 12-year-old girl set, especially. And we also want to do some parent social events, sort of like we kind of had the team social, but we're looking to encourage parent socials as we go. If anybody has any connections with restaurant spaces or anything like that, we would love to connect with you about that. This flyer was shared and it's also posted under the email and docs tab. It lists about one a month of the 6 different share nights we have. We have them on the schedule already. This is something that's improved from past years where we've scheduled them and then let you know about them. But this is the first time that we've had kind of a full-fledged schedule out at the beginning of the season. So we encourage you to mark your calendars and check it out. Parents helping back, probably the most important and common way you guys can support back is by volunteering at meets. Our sort of general rule is that if your swimmer is in a meet, we would like you to volunteer for that. Excuse me, a back hosted meet, and we can look at the meet schedule later. We require that you volunteer for that. There is an option to buy out there for the entire season. There are some flexible options if we've had all sorts of, obviously, a team this large and this many meets over this many years. We've had every circumstance under the sun, right? From sudden illnesses or family emergencies to just people being out of town and the kids are being watched by grandma, right? So we can't volunteer this time because grandma doesn't want to want to work the stopwatch, right? Basically, this is what we need from you, but we can be very flexible and we can make it work. The one kind of quirk in this year's schedule, we'll have some more information about it later, is at the end of the winter session, we are hosting 2 championship meets in a row, regional championship meet and the state 10 under state meet, consecutive weekends in February, March. That is the one meet a year where we're going to, or the pair of meets where we're going to be asking that every winter family provide some volunteer support for one of those 2 weekends, regardless of if you have a swimmer or how many swimmers you have. Um, officials are a great part of our volunteer squad. We're always looking for more officials. You can reach out to Ben, Rick, or Adam, 3 of our board members. We'll have some additional information on that. We mentioned at the parent social at Garner Park on Tuesday, but last year we had an inter squad meet, and for the first time we had a ton of parents that were interested in like shadowing as an official at an inter squad meet because they felt they were too. My sense is they were too intimidated to help out at a quote unquote regular meet. But the inter squad meet was no big deal. I'm here to tell you that if you have any interest in even just seeing what officiating's like, or maybe you've done a little officiating for your summer team, or maybe you want to do some officiating for your summer team, and you're thinking about like shadowing or just observing our officials, the Spooktacular is not that big a deal. Like it is not like you can't be on deck and you can't learn at that meet. So please, please, please don't be intimidated or anything else like that about these meets. And if you are interested in even tangentially if interested in officiating, please let us know. Fundraising events we talked about with Derek, and then the other helper connections. So like I mentioned, obviously formal sponsorships, and Derek will have those levels out and what the sponsors of different levels and partners at different levels get. Obviously, those are great, but also we're interested in hearing about anything that's out there that, if you have something that you do professionally or that you're connected with that might be of help to back, and we can keep kind of our business within the back swamily, that's great. If we're going to buy a whole bunch of sub sandwiches for the Spooktacular hospitality for coaches to eat during the meet, and you are neighbors with the people that own the local Melios or Jimmy John's or Cousins or whatever. My point is, it doesn't matter. We're going to buy some subs from someplace. We'd rather have it stay kind of within the back connected business at all possible. If you have any connections to a restaurant or a bar or someplace that might want to host a social or an event for maybe our coach's holiday thing or just a parent social or event, again, not like a hookup, but just just something we could connect with and work with people that we know. The fall 25-26 short course meet schedule. This is posted as well as, and we'll probably repost this soon because I see the word draft is still on there really big, and 99% of this has been locked in, so I think we can probably get rid of that. This is posted under the there's this whole tab about meets. It also posts kind of a USA Swimming frequently asked questions document, and then a little bit of an explainer for more with more information on each one of these meets. The light blue meets are back hosted meets. You can see we have the spectacular on there, the Holiday Splash, January Classic, and then regionals and state at the end. You'll also notice we like to have a local meet that's easier for you to attend somewhere in Dane County, about one a month. So we have two in October, we have McFarland in November, we have back Holiday Splash in December, January Classic, as well as the Vast Snow Globe meet in January and then the beginning of February, and then obviously our season-ending meets there. There are a couple other meets that will have time standards, like Glow or A plus. There is a Waukesha IMR reward meet that kind of has our own internal time standards. And then obviously the state championship meets had their time standards. If you are a experienced family, you probably get it. You've seen this schedule before. It's mostly this what we did last year as well with a few tweaks. Newer families, we'll go into this more as part of the new family video we'll post probably early week one. But it's a lot. I get it. It's a lot. So, like, this is as much as we want you to ask anytime you have questions at all. This is definitely an area where no one's going to be mad that you're asking for questions about what meet should my kids do, what events should they do at those meets, all of that stuff. It's a lot to get your head around the first time. All right, so that's kind of it. Thank you so much for watching. Like I said, I referenced several times, we'll have some additional videos out in the next week. Then we'll have some informational videos kind of beyond that. I referenced the college swimmer panel that we had. We had a couple other videos as well this spring. We kind of did a Wednesday wisdom type video where we had recorded. We had some Wednesday Zooms that people were welcome to join, where we talked about different topics or had different guests. People's schedules were so busy that we did not get a lot of participants live on Zoom, but we did get a lot of people watching the videos as a follow-up once they were posted. So I think this year, other than maybe a few things here and there, like we'll talk about something in a second, we're not going to have a lot of live Zooms for you to attend, but we're going to have a lot of little informational videos. Some of them maybe more like this, in the 40-minute range, but a lot of them in that 10 to 15-minute range. Just kind of doing some parent education, some swimmer education, clearing up some questions, that sort of thing. So just a little bit different format to deliver some information to you. The one exception, and we'll have a flyer out about this week one, is at the end of week one, so Sunday the 21st, we are going to do a live Zoom with Phoebe Bacon. If you're not familiar with Phoebe, she is a two-time Olympian. She's a former UW-Madison standout swimmer. She's still in Madison training here with the Badgers, she's a professional swimmer. She was on the national team this year that performed in Southeast Asia. She is a phenomenal person. She was at meet we hosted at the UW pool at the end of May to sign autographs for our swimmers and for participating swimmers. And part of the deal with that was she's going to kind of give us a you-rah-rah kickoff meeting at the end of week one to kind of celebrate a great first week and send us off to a great season beyond that. So other than that, thank you very much again for watching. Spend some time to get to know your swimmers and get to know the coaches. Chat with parents. You're going to see these parents theoretically a lot, especially if your kid's on the team for a number of years. So get to know each other. Don't forget about the clothing order and reach out if you have any questions. And appreciate it very much. And have a great rest of your weekend. Bye bye.